me, and there's a lot of speculation and stories of that happening behind the scenes. It's still hilarious to me that they said, okay, yeah, this guy's so mentally impaired that he can't be the candidate anymore, but oh, let's let him be the president for the next 6 months still. What the hell are we doing? Where's the 25th Amendment then? I mean, come on. Same people do out there on the street corners protesting. Their cornbread ain't quite done in the middle. We know that. Kid after Halloween. Hey, who ate all my candy? Dad.
And sold to Carvana.
Ugh. What's wrong, John?
I set aside a week to sell my car, Clarence. They pick it up tomorrow and they pay me on the spot. What am I supposed to do with all this time?
Visit a museum?
All week?
Learn Italian?
Ho venduto la mia macchina a Carvana. What are we gonna do?
Sell your car to Carvana today.
Find styles that feel more you than ever, without compromise. Max what makes you, you.
Dads, you have a right. It's called the dad tax. 90% goes to dad, 10% to the kids. Mom gets to have some off of dads. Imagine pulling up to Coachella, selling these, and watching people's mouths fill up with towels. 10-pack of portable, disposable, compressed towels. I gotta know how big that tube is. Good prank, good way to make some extra cash. I'm not telling you you should do this, but be the reason management creates new rules at work. Diabolical. You can only do this if you know you're irreplaceable. And I would say 90% of people at work think they are irreplaceable, but from a distance, you're like, dude, what? Dude, what? Everyone's replaceable. I would say not. Well, yeah. I shall name him Birdie Sanders. What the hell's wrong with that bird? Poor bird. I deserve at least 60% of the feed in the bird feeder. That's him. That's what he said. When the world didn't melt 3 years ago, so you gotta find the new grift. Well, now what's she gonna do? She kind of ditched the whole global warming thing. I'm sorry, climate change thing. Went to that. Now that that's coming to an end, we'll see if it's actually coming to an end. What's she gonna do now? Greta, keep us informed here. We got to keep up with the memes. A lot of memes out there. Got to be made still. Never stop what you're doing, Greta, because the memes are absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. Enjoy Halloween, because Mariah Carey is defrosting as we speak. And we've had a couple of memes about this. Enjoy the Halloween weekend, folks. I hate to put this on you, but here we are. I'm no expert by any means, but I think you are doing it wrong. Is that a Beamer? What? Why? My first question is, I mean, that looks like a pretty nice car. I couldn't tell you what it is. Why do you have a hitch on that? If that's all you got to put a hitch on it. But it seems like yeah, it is wrong. What happened to your truck here? Ladies, please try to keep your costumes realistic this year. Tinkerbell should not weigh 200 pounds. That's not funny. That is not funny. Not funny, but let's be realistic, guys. Come on. My first Halloween, my parents were OJ and Nicole, and I was the judge.
Okay, let's see them.
Oh yeah. Oh, this wins it, dude. Can you imagine? Someone should dress up as this and see what happens. You're gonna be all over the place. People are gonna be shaming you. Be all offended. People over 40 watching a third band set up before the headliner. If that main artist ain't out by, geez, I hate to even say 9 p.m., I'm leaving. That's a late night, too. I'd love to see the headliner at like 8 p.m. The jokes write themselves. Feminist Majority Foundation. Aww. You get it? You got the joke? That's funny. That's great. These dogs look like they have good credits. That they do. They do. They got good credits. That's an 850 score right there. I'd love to see it. Responsibility. Prove that if you need credit, you can pay it back. You can be responsible with it. Goosebumps. Man, we have some bad ones today. That is a horrific meme. Marriage is just your spouse constantly standing in front of the kitchen drawer or cupboard you need to open. Just did it this morning. We have one of those garbages that you have to like pull out, right? It's like, excuse me, I gotta do. That's what I got. So every day, that's part of marriage, man. 90% of it. When the tax man is snooping while you wrote off the RV, tell him to kiss your, you know what, okay? You want to see what it is, what we're using it for? Here you go, prick. Get out of here. Stop wasting tax money. Tolerant liberal at the grocery store admiring my Charlie Kirk t-shirt. Oh yeah, they don't like this. I will say, dude, I have seen a lot of Charlie Kirk t-shirts out in public.
At Marshall's, our buyers hustle 24/7, so you never have to compromise on quality or price. Who said expensive taste had to be that expensive?
I'm impressed. Let's talk numbers.
We get the deals, you get the good stuff.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks. Because in a Chevy truck, dependability comes standard. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
I've acknowledged them a few times, like, hey, I like your shirt. So keep wearing them. I love it. We need to stop the war in Gaza. Just did. No, not you. And this is the reaction. Trump does is bad. Of course, we know that. It's like, wait a minute, but you wanted that. That's a good thing. Less people dying, less innocent people dying. We don't want that. Why would anyone want that? And then, no, but not him. F. Christopher Columbus. They were refugees looking for a better life, bringing diversity and inclusion. Don't be a bigot. Yeah. And I think that the word is definitely conquer. They got conquered. It is what it is. Dominant cultures throughout history have conquered other cultures. It's just, it happens. When men pretend to be women. When kids pretend to be Indians on Halloween. Come on. Come on, that's funny. We got men pretending to be women all over the country. It's wild. And they're okay with that. I hate the news media. I hate the news media more. What's wrong with the news media? You guys still watch the news? Oh, dude. Yeah. I get all my news through memes. I literally am the meme. The meme thing. You know, we've had that meme many times. If it's not in the memes, I don't get it as news. You're not getting a straight story from any news place. Come on, be honest. Day 3 of soaking because no one wants to wash her. She got fresh water today. I don't condone soaking. You guys know that. Wash the thing. Scrape off whatever in the crock pot. But if you're going to let it soak, though, you do got to change that water because it stinks after a couple days. So, change out the water. Pack light will be gone for only a few days. Me. I will say, don't be that person on vacation, obviously. This, though, is fantastic. What a stack job, dude. Look at this. Wow. Can you even see through the windshield? Me. Why don't you take a nap, bud? Kid. I'm not tired. 30 seconds in the car ride. This is my life. It's like I hate that we have to do it, but sometimes we have to take her on a car ride to get her to sleep. Otherwise, she won't sleep. I don't want to take a nap. Less than a mile, she's out. Every time. Every time. Is this too much to ask for? She's my sweet potato. I am. It's called love right there, baby. They've been together for 60 years now. Congrats to them. I love it. I don't know if that's true or not, but they look like it. If they're wearing those shirts, they've been through some stuff together as a couple. And that's what it's all about. I'm mad about something I never researched. I heard Colbert say it. I heard Jimmy Kimmel say it, so it must be true. Scott Player, the last NFL player to don a single bar face mask, pictured here in 2007. You know, some would say that there's 2 bars in that photo. You got the bar on the helmet and the handlebar. Look at that, dude. That is a handlebar stash if I've ever seen one. Wow. We gotta bring this back. Did they outlaw this in the NFL? Come on, if you're a kicker, you don't need them. You don't need a helmet. Well, maybe you do, but you can have a single bar at least. Why do they have fake languages on Duolingo? High Valyrian, Klingon, Dutch. The Dutch. You know, I think what's more concerning here is that, okay, yes, it's on there, but 911,000 learners of High Valyrian? That's a lot of people, dude. Klingon, 334,000? What are you guys doing? What skill? It's not a real skill. Yeah, you could learn it, but why? Are you in theater? No kings. Lifetime senators. Lifetime senator, lifetime house rep. They don't care about that. How come you get like let's work together for once. How about that? Let's take your idea here. No kings. Let's put in term limits. You guys want no kings? It applies to senators and representatives too. How about that? Let's work together here. I'm glad you guys are on board with the term limits thing. Let's do it. Is the king in the room with us right now? In her mind, probably. She's nuts. Taylor Swift taking her music out for a walk. Again, I know there's Swifties that watch us. I see the comments. You can like her music. That's fine. It's not high quality lyricism, though. It's just not. She's not Bob Dylan. It's not. Millions gather to express total ignorance about political system. The other thing, too, is hopefully by the time you watch this, we'll have a Wednesday video, of That Day in Agewell video. We'll talk about this there, too. But a king wouldn't allow people to go out and criticize.
Our program is back, and it's going to be bigger and bolder than ever, providing more support for more women entrepreneurs. 75% of women business owners need special
him like this. And that alone is like, okay, there is no king. You guys are dumb. In many places, it is now unlawful to play Yahtzee with squirrels, and that's a shame, dude. Playing Yahtzees with squirrels is fun, but they're outlawing it. This used to be a free country. Ice cream, cruel world. There you go. If you ever feel black-pilled, you ever feel like, what is this? Nothing matters, you know? It does. A lot of stuff matters. But if you're ever you're feeling too much like that, get some ice cream. It'll take you out of your slump, you know? Pray, read the Bible a little bit, and then get back at it, okay? Recenter your focus and on the ice cream in the church, you know, and then there you go. And you'll see the world and you're like, okay, now we can do some stuff. There are some things to do. You can add one more chess piece to the board. How does it move and what is it called? The bureaucrat. It can move to any unoccupied position on the board but cannot capture pieces. It's just there to get in the way and slow things down. Oh, I love that. What a great idea. And very true, too. Bureaucrats. And that's what I always say politicians, but I think it's the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats are the biggest anchor, the biggest weight, the biggest hurdle, the biggest annoyance in the world. And it's the people that buy into this and think it's a good idea. Oh, let's create all this red tape, this giant welfare system where we all have jobs, but we don't really do anything. We get paid by taxes. Yeah. How did you do in today's game? Did you laugh at all? If you did, you lose, and you got to go start your own No Kings protest today, right now. After this video, after you click like and after you click subscribe. Let me know how you did down in the comments. While you're down there, please like this video. Please help us get it recommended to others. That's it for today's game. Until next time, I'm Tyler Zed, and this is Education.
Idiots.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality right now.
I analyzed videos of over 100 instances of Superman catching people falling from buildings. Superman dips 30% more to cushion the blow of white people than he does blacks. This is a clear indication of implicit bias. There's no way around it. Superman is racist.
What they neglected to tell you is that the white individuals all fell from skyscrapers. The black individuals fell from smaller buildings, on average, experiencing significantly lower velocities.
And why does Superman live in Metropolis, the city with the lowest crime rate in America? Because it's also the city with the whitest population in America.
To heck with this. I'm moving to Poland.
Mr. Reagan.
If you've ever watched The Chosen and wondered what the actors
That's
really
pretty
believe
funny.
in their personal
I
lives,
like.
you're not alone.
Oh my god,
I know.
that
It
shocked
is
me.
easy to assume that since the show is deeply rooted in the
Oh
Bible,
shit, that's
everyone
hilarious.
participating in it
That was
are
a parody,
devoted
you guys.
Christians.
It was a parody.
And yes, some are devout Christians for sure. However, others are Jewish, some are Muslims, and there are even ones that don't identify with any religion at all. And yet, this does not stop them from delivering some of the most spiritual performances of all time.
Okay,
So,
no.
let's talk about it. First on the list, we have Jonathan Rumi. His portrayal of Jesus has become iconic. And that makes sense when you know how strong his own faith is. I mean, to no one's surprise, Jonathan is a devout Catholic who often speaks about how playing Jesus transformed his relationship with God. He said in interviews, "I had to surrender everything, my career, my finances, my life, to God. And once I did, he gave me back something greater than I ever imagined." Jonathan also leads online prayers and public rosaries, and has partnered with Catholic organizations to talk about faith.
Cole, he's my miracle child. So how does your miracle child get cancer? How does that happen?
There was a mass. You basically attended.
For him, this role is more than just acting. It's a calling for him to seek a more saint-like life.
God knows what we struggle with, but we're still challenged to do what he would do in those situations.
Shahar Isaac is another name who has become synonymous with his on-screen portrayal of Simon Peter. And guess what? Despite portraying such a devoted Christian, in real life, Shahar comes from a different place spiritually. Born into an Israeli Yemenite Jewish family, Shahar has remained relatively private about his current religious practices. What we do know is that his roots in Jewish culture, and I would like to think that tradition likely adds a layer of authenticity to his performance as one of Jesus's closest Jewish disciples.
Rather than to day by day, I am the character in that day doing that thing today.
Noah James, who plays Andrew, is another actor with Jewish roots. Previously, he's spoken about how meaningful it is to portray a character who lived during the time of the Second Temple, especially as someone who understands the weight of Jewish identity and tradition. Though he hasn't delved deeply into his personal beliefs in interviews, James has shown a deep respect for the religious and historical aspects of his character's journey. And in the end, it is all we expect from our beloved actors. He said once, "The script gives us space to explore the humanity of these figures, and I think that's where the sacredness lives."
And we just wanted it to feel as real as possible so that you could feel like you were transported 2,000 years ago.
I don't know about you guys, but to me, Paris Patel's performance as Matthew is one of the most nuanced in the show. His portrayal of the socially awkward tax collector is both sensitive and complex. And yes, I don't think anyone else would have thrived in this role as much as Paris did. We know that Paris was raised Hindu, but hasn't publicly identified with any specific faith as an adult. He's previously said, "Playing Matthew has opened up a whole world for me. It's made me curious about spirituality in general." While he might not claim a particular religious label now, his openness seems to reflect the journey of his on-screen character, who gradually turns from outsider to beloved disciple.
You know, not only my character, but the rest of my castmates' work has done and really changed lives and given people a voice, but also...
On the other hand, Giovanni Cairo, who plays Thaddeus, has publicly identified as Catholic. His belief system aligns well with the show's message, and he's mentioned how being part of The Chosen has deepened his appreciation for the Bible and for service. On social media, he often shares faith-related content and quotes from Scripture. In one post, he said, "This show has reminded me what love looks like when it's rooted in something eternal." Similar to Jonathan, for Giovanni, acting in The Chosen is more than a role. It's basically a personal extension of his faith.
See people watch The Chosen and be able to go back to their Bible, or being able to go back to the stories that were told, and have a clearer picture and more of an understanding of it.
I think we can all agree that Elizabeth Tabish gives one of the most emotionally charged performances as Mary Magdalene. And I believe many of you guys will be surprised to hear that her own spiritual journey is unconventional. She recently admitted that she identifies as a Christian but holds progressive, left-leaning views. In interviews, she's spoken about how she had previously left Christianity and was drawn back through art and storytelling. She told the Christian Post, "This show reintroduced me to the person of Jesus, not as a doctrine, but as someone who saw the broken and called them beloved. And I feel like this is a very inspiring journey of hers. But let me know what you think."
Follows her outside and repeats the prayer that her father taught her and calls her by her name.
Vanessa Benavente, who plays Mary, on the other hand, is not religious at all. I mean, not at all. In fact, some people speculate that she is an atheist, though she hasn't labeled herself publicly. Still, this does not stop her from delivering an amazing performance as Virgin Mary. She has previously said, "As an actor, it's my job to find the emotional truth, regardless of belief. And Mary's love for her son, that's universal. And personally, I have no objections to those words, at all."
There was such a warm feeling about her, and even though she had such a hard life, she was a widow and she had gone through so much hardship, she still wanted to laugh and the first one to crack a joke and just loved life.
David Amito, who plays the intense and prophetic John the Baptist, is another one who seems to be an atheist in real life. He doesn't believe in Christianity, that's for sure. In fact, he's said quite clearly, "I don't hold Christian beliefs." That hasn't stopped him from diving fully into the role of one of Christianity's most radical voices, though. And personally, I respect him for that.
I have a revelation after the experience of being like, oh wow, like I never would have guessed that I would have / John the Baptist would feel this way.
Lara Silva, who plays Simon Peter's wife Eden, however, is openly Christian. She's spoken about how faith is an important part of her personal and professional life. Silva has shared that The Chosen feels like a kind of ministry for her. She once said, "It's not just about what happens on screen. We pray together. We lift each other up."
She does have some fire in her, and she can tell him like it is when she needs and get him to understand, where she's coming from.
As many of you know, Sean Sharma portrays one of the more antagonistic characters, aka Shmuel, a Pharisee often at odds with Jesus. But in real life, Sharma holds a nuanced view of faith. While not a traditional Christian, he has said he believes in the teachings of Christ. He said, "I might not identify with a religion, but I believe in love, forgiveness, and truth, which Jesus taught. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like his role forces him to wrestle with religious legalism, perhaps reflecting some of his own questions about organized faith. Thinking about a new career, but unsure where to start? Skip the guesswork with Career Accelerators by Udemy. Step by step, you'll get the skills, hands-on experience, and interview.
They are all Shmuels on certain issues within their own lives. Like there's things that we're very rigid and stubborn about that I'm sure we could relax or open our minds a little bit more about.
Nick Shakur, who plays Zebedee, is another member of the cast who has expressed belief in God, though he hasn't clearly defined his denomination. He's said that working on The Chosen helped him grow spiritually, though. He once said, "This isn't just acting. This is sacred ground. I walk away from each day on set with more faith than I had before."
And I heard my heart call out, say, if you don't call out to God right now, this is about to get really bad.
As you all know, Elijah Alexander plays the Roman magistrate Atticus with quiet intensity. While there's not much public information about his faith background, he has been described in interviews as a spiritual person and a believer, though what that means specifically is left open. Let me know if you have more information on his beliefs.
Sounds perfect.
It really was.
I would have liked to have been there, but I wasn't invited.
Well,
Now, another one who is quite mysterious about his religion is Reza Diaco. He hasn't spoken openly about his religion, but given his name and background, I feel like it's reasonable to assume he comes of Muslim origin, though we don't know his current beliefs.
Here we are, sitting knowing that the end is near regarding The Chosen, and also there is almost this sacred feeling in the middle. I always say it was such a weird thing that's almost ineffable.
On the other hand, Eric Avari, who gave a stunning performance as Nicodemus in Season 1, was born into a Parsi Zoroastrian family in India. Though he hasn't discussed his beliefs in depth, I always thought that his unique background brought richness to the role of a religious leader deeply moved by Jesus.
pontificating at 6, you know? I'm looking at this photograph, I'm thinking, what's wrong with this kid?
I believe there is not a single one of you who do not know who Luke Dimion is. He portrays Judas, and his real-life background is rooted in Coptic Orthodoxy, which is one of the oldest branches of Christianity.
Loud, he's not very cunning, he's just honest. Although sometimes maybe his honesty can be a bit abrasive and can get him into trouble sometimes.
For more weekly updates on the Chosen cast, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.
Welcome to our Chief Technology.
I swear, every time I check Destiny's X account, my opinion about him goes down 15 points. Now, given I do appreciate it whenever he complains about Hassan Piker, because believe it or not, I actually hate Hassan Piker more than Destiny, so there's that. Also, why is he dressed like a 13-year-old? I haven't got a clue. But when I see posts like this is when I genuinely start thinking, either this guy doesn't know how to present a coherent line of argumentation, or he's just trolling. I'm gonna lean on trolling, but let's review it anyways, because I do think that a lot of people, if you check the messages, and it's not just that I think, we'll read some of the comments, I think people just do not use their brain these days. So, Destiny Stephen Bonnell II posts, "Whoa, buddy, when I said free speech, I didn't mean you could just start saying things I don't like." And this is supposedly an own on the MAGA, because usually right-wingers in general tend to be very supportive of freedom of speech and First Amendment rights. Oh wow, so hypocritical of you to complain about what? That's exactly what we need to check. So what we are seeing here is like he's commenting on this, which is a post by the Patriot Oasis, and we read, "Breaking. The man who mocked the assassination of Charlie Kirk during the past weekend's No King protest in Georgia has been identified as Ian Charbonneau. He's allegedly a shift manager at Pizza Hut. You know what to do. X, make him famous." So, first and foremost, before you go and go nuts, we don't know if this is correct. It hasn't been confirmed as far as I know. And in fact, if we read this, readers added context they thought people may want to know, we see this individual is not an employee of Pizza Hut. So be careful. Like, I am 100% in favor of showing each and every single one of these absolute pieces of scum that mock Charlie Kirk's death, celebrate Charlie Kirk's death, threaten conservatives, right-wingers, and in fact anyone, centrists, that disagree with them, that do direct threats and call to actions for violence. Yeah, every single one of these people need to be made famous. And when we say made famous, the reason why I'm doing this, because I used that expression myself. Let me make it clear. When I say make him famous or make her famous, it means get his face everywhere so that his friends, family, employers, and colleagues can see what he actually did or what she actually did. This is what I mean, in the hopes that they will have some repercussions due to what they did, due to their choice of words or actions that they had publicly displayed. And of course, if there were direct threats or incitement to violence involved, then I hope that there is legal repercussion and they end up in prison. That's the only thing I mean by make them famous, just so we're clear. However, the crowd that keeps trying to use this, "Oh, I thought you were for freedom of speech," in these scenarios are absolute morons. So either Destiny is also an idiot, or he's doing it on purpose, even though he knows it's a non-argument, and he's just doing it because then people will go into this comment section, engage with him, and spam the name once again. Of course, I'm not going to engage directly, but let's have a look. For instance, the real whatever the heck Johnson's 128,000, so this is not a random individual, says, "Wow, getting shift managers at Pizza Hut fired for exercising freedom of speech makes you," checks notes, once again, it's the typical thing that lefties use against conservatives, and they think it's an own. It's not an own. Freedom of speech, it's unbelievable that I have to explain this to Americans. Unbelievable to me. It's a failure of educational system, and it's in fact a symptom of a propagandistic brainwashing that prevents people from using critical thinking. Freedom of speech means that your speech is protected, even if it's ugly speech, even if it's awful speech, even if it's offensive speech, as long as it's not direct threats of violence or incitement to violence, full stop. Those matters of those type of speeches are not protected. Now, some of these people that we call out are absolutely doing threats. So they should be called out, particularly when they said stuff like, oh, we need to take off Charlie Kirk's children and stuff like that. I think even the most radicalized individual should figure out the logics behind such a statement. Well, actually, I'll take that one back. Radicalized people do not think. They have the system think for them. Let me rephrase. Even the most left-wing oriented individual who hasn't been radicalized will be able to understand the inner logical fallacy within this type of comeback when it comes to direct threats and incitement to violence. No one who supports freedom of speech ever says, oh yeah, but you can actually do the direct call to violence. No one is expecting that. But what about this? So clearly this person is a piece of shit, is mocking the death of Charlie Kirk, but is this a direct call to violence? No. Is this direct threat? No, at least for what I can see, it can become such if they say, for instance, if you vote conservative, you deserve this, or I'll do this to you, then it becomes a threat of violence. So I would have to see the full clip. But if it's just doing this, it's awful to look. But would I want the authorities to arrest him? No. No. But this has nothing to do with expanding the reach of their awful behavior, which is what we as content creators are doing, YouTubers, but in general people on X, even regular people on X that repost what they already did publicly. Publicly. This is a public space. This is not a leaked private message. This is public. So once you make it public, it's fair game. And so if anyone reposts it and says, look at this piece of shit, because he's a piece of shit, and then a lot of people do it, and the post goes viral, and their employer sees it, or their employers are notified of such behavior, and then in their absolute freedom, the employer says, I don't want to have anything to do with this shit. That's fine. No one took away your freedom of doing this. No one took away your freedom of speech is still here, but freedom of speech doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want, and for whatever reason, your friends, family, and employers, and workforce, and in the workspace are all going to be okay dealing with you. I wouldn't, if I was an employer of a business, and I knew that one of my employees does this, fired immediately. I would say, get out of here, scum. So that's fine. And it's not an infringement of your freedom of speech. This would become an infringement of freedom of speech if you do horrible stuff like this, or if you say horrible stuff about Charlie Kirk and whatever you want, and the police comes to your place and arrests you. Then I'm going to agree with you and say, hold on a minute, what about his freedom of speech? Right? Because freedom of speech means free speech is also speech that I hate. It's ugly speech oftentimes, in fact. This is so normal. Look, another one of these imbeciles, Ace. At least no followers, good. So here there's the MAGA guy, LOL, George Floyd, 41%, Melissa Hotman, Paul Pelosi, all of this stuff, and apparently the left-winger says nothing. I don't know on what planet. And then the left-winger says, LOL, Charlie Kirk, and the MAGA's like, what the fuck, you just, what, seriously, buddy? Yeah. I mean, what does this have to do with freedom of speech, first? And second, this is not true. The leftists always complain about what... Leftists complain even when right-wingers just say very basic stuff. Like, I love the traditional family. That's enough to trigger a left-winger. So there is that. These people live in fantasy land. I'll make a dedicated video to this lady here. Look, unlike you, woke snowflake commie libs, I'm not so easily triggered, and then he gets triggered by people making jokes and celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And that's stupid again. It's very stupid. You should be triggered by the evil, pure, disgusting evil of people laughing and celebrating the death of a father, a husband. What do you mean? How do you think you are the good guys? How? 5,000 followers in California. Okay. Yeah, look, now do this one. Let's go, Brendan, and then I think this is Biden, right? Yeah, you could. That's the thing. If you say, oh, this is absolutely out of place, I would agree with you. I'd be like, yeah, it's out of place. And if someone put here Trump, I would say, yep, it's out of place. And then you have idiots like this. Charlie Kirk was not a nice man. And you are, I'm going to tell him. And you are? Exactly. Like, it's always like they tell you that someone is not a nice man simply because he has politics and ideas and religion sometimes that they don't agree with. But then they are the first one to do 1,000 times worse than anything they could have used against Charlie. Unreal. And look, this is a great man. Make him president. This guy. The left is gone. The left is unhinged. Completely gone. No principles, no morality, no integrity, nothing. And this, and I could continue, but at the end of the day, that's the idea. And so it is such a stupid counter argument that I have to believe. I don't know what I should believe about this, but this is not an argument. Destiny goes off on her son being a Nepo baby.
Are you wearing 7 layers and still freezing your man nipples?
You need the new 340 GSM military-grade bearskin hoodie to get comfortable in the wild. It's the ultimate 10-pocket tactical hoodie that blocks wind, repels rain, and regulates heat for incredible comfort, wherever you are. It's the only winter hoodie that's built for working, fishing, hunting, camping, or conquering foreign lands. Thousands of men around the world already love wearing the bearskin hoodie instead of their regular hoodies, with over 21,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot.
I don't want to say it. I agree with Destiny on this one, but it's difficult for me to say it. Now look at this. Cute. The marching orders are out in full display. It's embarrassing how transparent MAGA is with their propaganda. Once again, a non-argument from Mr. Destiny here. So this was, of course, I don't care about some group chat said by Faith Merrill, and I think that she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right, because at the end of the day, the chats were awful. I myself have said that. I have a dedicated video, but they are nothing in comparison. Not only to what happened to Charlie, not only to what happened to her, and you might think, yeah, but this guy's not like he's a left-winger. Right, but then you have big left-wing accounts like the Black Tucker Carlson with 120,000 followers on X that post stuff like this, and it's not the only thing he posted. He posted this, he posted this, he posted this, and this, which, as you can see, is clearly relevant. This is, seriously, if you're a Democrat and you're watching this, do you think this guy is the good guy that posts this? Like, how? With a straight face, how is this the good guy? I don't get it. So, considering this stuff, then yeah, I will also say 100 times worse what the left does in comparison to the group chat. Also, Destiny says that MAGA is transparent in their propaganda, yet the Young Republican group chat was leaked. It was leaked. It was private messages. Radical leftists do these publicly. I'm not even going to click on his account because it's going to be absolute pure poison. And once again, the main difference is that the left does all of this proudly and shamelessly. So explain to me how Destiny thinks that this is a known. MAGA is transparent in their propaganda. Okay. Delusional at this point. Anyways, that's the new situation with Destiny. Is there gonna be more? Is there gonna be more? Who knows? You let me know. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.
A couple of prompts in, and I had a working checkout. No off-the-shelf system could give us what I built with Base 44.
Our brand's name is 80 Summers. It's a premium swimwear brand made to help women feel good about themselves.
We had this opportunity of opening a pop-up, and suddenly we needed a point of sale.
But the danger that I want to highlight to you tonight is not anti-Semitism on the left. It is anti-Semitism on the right.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the show. That was Senator Ted Cruz. He's an elected official that I thought was elected to, prioritize Americans. And America, that's kind of why we elect politicians is you're supposed to be focused on this country, on these people. Well, that was his full remarks at the 45th annual night to honor Israel. Yay! I'm so happy. Doesn't that make me feel so glad? I'm really glad he's tackling the real issues that really affect Americans. I'm glad Ted Cruz, our elected official who is living off our paycheck and our tax dollars, and LARP says he cares about America, despite the fact that he was exposed on Tucker Carlson, basically saying the single biggest issue for me when I ran was to protect Israel, or something to those lines. And now here he is at a night to honor Israel. How many other of our allies get nights to honor them? Maybe France? Are there any other allies of ours that get this kind of treatment? Or better yet, maybe no one should get this treatment except for Americans and people who live in America and this country itself. Maybe there should be an annual night to honor Americans, to honor the settlers, the founding fathers, maybe the people who built this country, maybe white people actually. Shocking, I know. Can you imagine if we actually had a night to honor our white founders? Our white people who civilized this land? Maybe a night for them. But no, let's make sure we lay it on thick for our greatest ally, Ted Cruz, as he's received millions of dollars from AIPAC, the Israel lobby. Nothing wrong with that, of course. This is what I voted for. I'm really glad we have politicians taking money from foreign countries. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We should all be happy that our elected politicians, while America is crumbling, while we can't afford to build a house, buy a house, or even rent a house, while we have a crisis on the border and millions of people coming in, and now we can't even deport the ones that are here, you know, the gang members that are terrorizing white Americans. While the US dollar is losing currency and losing popularity by the day, as BRICS is taking over that as the new kind of global financial system, as Americans can barely even afford to pay for groceries. Well, let's cut corporate tax. Let's make sure we continue to tax to death the Americans who go to work every day. And let's be sure to have as many nights to honor foreign countries as possible. Let's sign more bombs to be sent over there, that we pay for, by the way. Let's sign more of those. Let's embroil ourselves further in this war, which, again, further alienates white countries that are allies, like France. In fact, our ambassador to France, he sent a very strongly worded letter to Macron, chiding him, yelling at him, basically, that he's not doing enough to crack down on anti-Semitism over in France. So as we bend over backwards for another country, we are simultaneously alienating other countries who aren't cool with what's going on over there. Our country is going broke, sending billions of dollars. Do you know how much that is? Do you know how much that is? You know how much that could help Americans, white families, Americans struggling, people who can't afford to have families now because it's too expensive to live. They're competing with Indians coming in on H-1B visas. They're competing with other brown people, and they're being put last. Do you remember at Trump's inauguration when he thanked basically every non-white and wouldn't even mention white men, which are the reason why he won that election, because white men turned out in record numbers? He didn't even mention white people once. He just said, oh, we had great Hispanic numbers turn out. The black vote was amazing. And Netanyahu comes to visit. He's just a regular here. He might as well just, I'm sure he owns a house here. He might as well just set up shop in D.C. because he's here just about as much as he's in Israel. And now we have our elected officials not worrying about any things that actually pertain to America. But let's encourage people to get, we need more censorship here. Because you know what he's saying? This dangerous rise on the left, and now it's on the right too. What's the point of making a speech like that if you didn't want to push for censorship, if you didn't want to push for mass banning, maybe even arrests? They arrest people in Europe all the time for, quote, anti-Semitism. How long until they start arresting people in the United States for that? Because if you are equating people who criticize sending money to a foreign country, you were lumped in with terrorist supporters. So basically what they're saying is you're a terrorist if you don't want your taxpayer money being sent to another country to get us involved in more wars that American soldiers will die in, that will further alienate us from actual allies of ours. But no, let's host more nights of celebration and honor for this ally who does totally so much for us. Though I just can't, I'm having a hard time off the top of my head figuring out what exactly they do for us. I know we send a lot of our boys to die over there in Middle Eastern wars. Doesn't really ever benefit us, just gets us killed. But, you know, they don't care about your sons and your husbands dying in a foreign... They don't care. Why would they care about that? Why would they care about your interest? We have more important things to deal with, like censorship, like putting in hate speech laws, like taking more and more of your rights away to where you can't criticize it. Hey, shithead, here's a thought for you. We live in America, Ted Cruz. We live in America. We're allowed to criticize any country we want, including our own. I know you're just frothing at the mouth for those hate speech laws. You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy, Ted Cruz. He's such a good boy for his masters who's paid him off. Probably blackmailed him too. I've heard from people that he's a real freak as well. So I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. I'm sure they don't have any dirt on him, and I'm sure the millions of dollars he's received from foreign governments, I'm sure that has no effect on him at all. I'm sure he only has America's interest at heart. You know, second only to his appetite. There was a picture that came out of him, and wow, he wasn't looking very fit. Let's just say that. But I saw this video, and it made me really happy to see that American politicians are putting Americans first. Yeah, no problem that we have a homeless problem. No worries that people are overdosing on the streets. No worries that your sons and daughters, when they go to college and go in debt for the rest of their life, get out and they can't find a job. So they have to start bartending. No worries that people are actually having to try to leave America because it's worse here. And they'd rather live in a third world country than America. But I'm sure sending billions of dollars routinely and getting involved in other wars, I'm sure that has nothing to do with the decline of America. I'm sure that has nothing to do with that at all. And I'm just glad to see Ted Cruz out here tackling the issues that really affect Americans. And I'm glad they're putting on a whole night, a whole gala, a whole spectacle to honor another country while the rest of us white people languish and see our money go to shit, see our assets dissolve, see the money in the bank depreciate.
Okay.
And see people like this enrich themselves and other countries do well on our back. But I'm really glad to see they're America first. It's America first around here only. And if you question any other country, and if you actually dare to have a say or want to criticize where our money's being sent to, you're anti-Semitic. You shouldn't have a platform. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. Because good boy Ted Cruz, good boy Ted Cruz, he said so. Because remember, he's just looking out for you. The government knows what's best for you, and they feel like people criticizing Israel, that's not good for you. You're not safe. These are crazy people. These are terrorists. And they need to be dealt with. They need to be dealt with harshly, actually. We can use Palantir to surveillance them. We can ban them from platforms so they won't have a voice. And we can make sure we get rid of them. Because there's a country in the Middle East that is our greatest ally. Despite the fact that it's hard to come up with reasons as to why. It's hard to substantiate that claim. In fact, if you go the other route, you kind of figure out ways that maybe actually they're not at all. Maybe they're worse than not an ally. Maybe they're like actually a harm to our country. Like a leech. You know when you go swimming in a swamp and you get a leech on you and you don't really know it's there because it's really small. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's a small organism. Very small group of people with small hats as well. You know how it sticks on you and you don't realize that and you start getting infections, you start getting bacteria and you're like, what's going on? Why do I feel faint all of a sudden? Oh yeah, because you picked up a leech in the swamp and the leech is introducing bacteria into your country. Or what am I talking about? Your body, not your country. We're not talking about anything. It's introducing bacteria to your body. It's leaching slowly, taking the lifeblood out of you, sucking it up, and then you're a shriveled up person till you finally find that leech that's on you. And you're like, fucking hell, this little thing? This is what's been causing all my problems? Wow. But let's just leave the leech on there. No, because that leech is actually enriching you. You're actually getting something from that leech. You should leave that leech on there. How dare you? What? You want to remove it? You don't want that leech to be on you anymore, sucking your blood? How dare you? What are you, anti-leech now? What are you, a fucking racist? What are you, a terrorist? Who knows? Who knows? But I'm really glad to see that Ted Cruz has got his priorities straight, and I'm really glad to see America is finally being put first. Sounds good. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels really good. You know, it's hard to afford rent, never buy a house. But you don't want a house, actually. You don't want to own any. Why would you want to own something? Why? You're actually crazy for wanting that. You should give up everything you own and give it to invaders from other countries. And you should basically go broke funding another country. Because that's what's going on. But anyway, that's the show. I'm so happy. I feel so elated with this. Really glad our politicians are putting us first finally. Anyway, that's the show. If you didn't find it too offensive. I don't think it was, though. We weren't talking about anything. Nothing of importance. We're just bantering here. I don't know what I'm talking about at all. Anyway, if you liked the show, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Although if you do that, you might be put on a list because will we get banned next? Who knows? But while we're here, let's keep putting the heat on this. Let's keep on letting these people know that we're not happy and we would actually like America to be put first.
Work's over.
For once.
Oh,
if that's
shit.
possible.
Sure that
if that's possible at all. Could you spare us a shekel or two? Could you spare the American people a shekel or two? Or are you that greedy? Or are you that greedy and bloated? Anyway, that's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like and comment. And I will see you in the next one.
Here are all the things I don't do as a self-made millionaire. The first thing that shocks a lot of people for some reason is that my house is only 800 square feet. And I like it that way. It's more than enough room for me and my family, and we use every space in it. I also don't buy designer anything. In fact, I prefer shopping at thrift stores, consignment stores, and clothing swaps with friends. Another thing you might not expect from a multimillionaire is that we don't drive flashy cars. We have a Volkswagen Golf for our family car.
70% of Democrats support amnesty for illegal immigrants, according to Rasmussen. 47% of voters said that Trump's immigration policies have been too harsh. 32% said they were just right. 70% said not harsh enough. 70% of Democrats support legislation toward amnesty to illegal immigrants who are in the United States, according to this poll. So if Democrats get power, we know exactly what they're going to do. For what, the fourth time now? They're going to let a large block of non-citizens become citizens. And I don't know, what is this, Rome?
I mean, I'm 41 now, and I cannot remember a single election during my adult lifetime that was considered legitimate. Like starting with Bush and Gore, and then you had Obama and the birth certificate, and then you had all the questions of Russiagate and everything with Trump, and then it was the election with Biden and all the counts there. Nobody has accepted truly an election as legitimate the whole time I've been able to vote as an adult. And we're all still standing around like that's not going to have a cost eventually, right? So now we're done like making arguments. The Democrats are just going to import new voters, or if they can't win that way, they're just going to do violence. But the idea that like they're just going to say, oh, well, I guess the Republicans, they just won that election and now that's just the way things are. That is never happening again. It hasn't happened the whole time I've been around.
We'll be in prison. We'll be in the gulag.
Gulag. That's what worries me about the Zoran stuff, dude. If the Democrat Party is positioning themselves in support of Zoran and his policies, and they win the midterms, that's frightening.
Yeah, well,
it's terrifying.
And the thing about Zoran that's so disturbing is he's importing like a third world form of authoritarianism that's kind of foreign. Like the Democrats, yes, they have demonstrated they have this proclivity, but it's not the third world style. Where the third world style is legitimately just killing your political enemies, throwing them in jail, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, the Democrats have flirted with that, but Zoran importing that style of vaguely left-wing politics is like really disturbing, because that for them is not even really about pushing any policy down the field. It's literally just about vengeance, retribution. This is what you saw in Uganda. I mean, Idi Amin, like what can anybody name a single policy of his? Like I don't know, but all I know is he was, persecuting his political enemies. It's a form of vengeance that is particular to that part of the world. And then you're going to bring, that voter base in to support. You're going to bring that voter base in from the third world that will continue to advocate for these policies.
You know what?
Don't believe me? Look at Minneapolis. Look at Ilhan Omar. All she's doing is just
little
reflect.
Somalia.
Everyone's like, how is it that she's a Muslim but supports LGBT? It's because that's not the point. The point is just retribution and vengeance.
Destroy America. So it's also divide and conquer. It is, we want a Somali Muslim community where we live, and we need to weaken their machine to empower ours.
It's amazing how gullible conservatives are. If you just throw some kind of ideological gobbledygook at them, they'll just debate that forever rather than notice the obvious. Like, no, foreign hordes are importing their own people to take over your stuff. Like, you could track this back to thousands of years in BC, and it wouldn't matter. It's the same strategy. Nothing has changed about human nature. The fact that you have some abstract ideology where you think that as soon as someone walks into America, they randomly become George Washington, like, sorry, but that's not actually how it works. But conservatives will just debate this endlessly rather than recognize the obvious.
What if we created some kind of viral gene manipulation where when they walked in, we spray them, and then they actually turn into George Washington?
Yeah, their IQ goes up 20 points. They gain all of the.
Just go.
I don't get it. We gave them the pocketbook constitutions, and they still want to eat me. Like, what is it?
No, I think you're all wrong, because clearly, as everybody knows, once we delivered the American constitutional system to Liberia, they became a developed, heavily civilized nation, and it's a.
They just launched their space station. It's going great.
It's great.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of those airplanes.
I mean, they still eat each other. There's a lot of cannibalism there, but
you get hungry.
The space station was a drawing from a tourist who was there, not actually the country of Liberia.
In crayon, But.
In crayon. Liberia is a really great example of this multiculturalism is fake. We go to this place, we establish a colony, we say, here's how the government works, and they're like, so we eat each other? And we're like, no, you vote, but I want to eat him. And then it's like, we come back to check on them, and they're like, how's the government going? And they're just like,
it was delicious.
At this rate, it's probably going to be more like 40.
Okay, no, way too long. Let's see how much you're spending. Download an app called Rocket Money.
Oh, wow. I've got 3 DoorDash accounts. I totally forgot to cancel those.
You know you can cancel those right in the app? Rocket Money has a clear dashboard that shows you all your income and expenses, helping you stay in control of your goals.
It also shows you a list of all your subscriptions and how much you're paying, all in one place. Is this the best budgeting app?
Yes, and it's called Rocket Money.
From a young age, I told myself I wouldn't be caught dead in a toxic or abusive relationship, and yet there I was, and I had no one that I felt comfortable enough to talk to about the things I was experiencing. I was honestly embarrassed. Throughout my time with her, she taught me how to not only stand up for myself and my opinions, but to also give myself the same grace I give others. I'm allowed to mess up, and shouldn't have to fear getting screamed at or demeaned. She helped me see the line I was blind to when it came to care and control, and gave me the courage to speak to my friends and family about what had been going on for the past 2 years. Thank you for giving me the voice I knew I had, but I just couldn't find. I can't describe how appreciative I am that you led me to where I am now.
How are you feeling right now?
I think so happy that I could see that part of the journey. I don't think it's very often that you get to hear from a client.
Okay, I'm gonna call Microsoft because I need to get my account unlocked, and then, well, I need to redo my MFA because it's on a new phone. So I'm gonna call them, unlock my.
No, what was the guy's name?
Reset my
What was
MFA.
the actual guy's
get
name?
back to my Azure.
Butt naked, General Butt Naked.
And then I will come back, but I'm gonna stop my.
They're eating people there too.
Stop my.
Wherever you're eating people.
Isn't he still doing
Give
it?
me hopefully
I'm
like an
confused
hour.
by this. Could you explain to us why giving an American constitutional system